Hello and welcome everybody to New Earth Consciousness. Tanya here with Tiffani Churchill. She's the founder of AllTrueistic, which is an app that she's developing, but there's some core concepts that we're going to dive into. Um, Tiffany's located in Sedona, Arizona. I love Sedona. I used to live there many years ago. And so, yeah, I'm excited to dive into some of the concepts that you're presenting with your company, AllTrueistic. So, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. I know it was we jumped through so many hurdles of trying to get here, but here we are. So, I'm excited to dive into the conversation.
Yes, I think that just makes our time together so much more special. The challenges that we overcome to be where we are right now. So thank you so much for having me on with you today, for connecting and for giving me the opportunity to share my voice and my message and my platform. As you mentioned in your introduction, I founded an app. It's a free collective meditation and intention app called Altruistic. We are on a mission to build a global community to co-create more evolved futures for ourselves, for each other, and for all of humanity. And so I look forward to our conversation together and also to share some tools. So anyone listening, besides going into the app, who can walk away with some tools to enhance their own lives.
Yeah, beautiful. And this your company, Altruistic, is so in alignment with of new earth consciousness of what my concept is about around that and the power of humanity to create heaven on earth. And now that we're beginning to understand the power of intention, the power of imagination, of our developing our understanding of the quantum nature of reality. Um, share with us the three different dimensions that altruistic is really kind of diving into in order to help uplift humanity.
So, Altruistic is a really beautiful platform that takes personal transformation and turns it into a global impact. So, it mostly starts with the self. So, it starts with us. First, we have to build the foundation in our own lives. And Altruistic is a beautiful tool to do that, to enhance your life. And it does so through my experience with neuroscience, quantum physics. So, there's a lot of science behind the way that we built this platform. And using tools like mental rehearsal, using meditation. We have a beautiful practice that before you start anything, you step into what we call the resonance sequence, which is calming your mind. It's reconnecting to your heart. It's so your heart and brain go into coherence. And being able then to tap into an intention, which is really an energetic signal that you're sending out into either the world or into your internal body. And so using the tool first to enhance your own life. And then the second dimension of it is intending, meditating, coming together, and we like to say really uniting our hearts and minds around a common vision. So in this case, a common vision for someone else. A lot of times that's someone else's healing, or it could be someone else's success or their business. And then the third dimension is where we come together for the world. So that's where a lot of science, a lot of different studies are really proving our group coherence and how powerful we are. And so our ability to come together and co-create a better world, whether it's peace, whether it's planetary healing, it's truly stepping beyond the chaos in the world and let's come together and create something we really do want to experience. Let's co-create, as you said, the new earth and bring it into our reality.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really feel that that's really only possible if we come together. Wouldn't you say? I mean, and I loved how you phrased that first it's like, yes, we have to develop ourselves, right? Um, better ourselves, better, increase in our intuitive abilities, connecting with source, creating the life that we want for ourselves. But I do really believe in the power of when two or more are gathered for a specific intention. I'm really curious, like, what what does some of the research show? I mean, I know that Lynn McTaggart was kind of she's really has written so much about the power of intention, and I'm curious about maybe, you sharing some stories or experiences in your own life of how this has shaped your life.
Absolutely. So in my own life, it started very early on with doing a lot of research in this area and then determining and kind of experimenting with what could I shape in my own reality. And so first I worked in my internal body. I healed my body, meditation, change in beliefs, yoga, different practices, and I was able to heal my body. And then I thought, well, if I can work with my internal world and shape my reality in my internal world, what can I do in my external world? What kind of effects can I cause? And really, my story was a story from nothing to everything. And it was really that story of learning how to intentionally create and intentionally shape what I do want to bring into my reality. And so my life completely transformed, and people that were surrounded by me were just absolutely amazed. They thought it was just miraculous. But one of the things I found is they thought it was only me, that, this was luck or it
Mm,
was something that only I did. And so it became a big mission to share and to continue to research and experiment that I could show others it wasn't luck. And it's not just my life. Anyone really can transform their lives. And I always say everything can happen quickly. But since I had so many personal experiences, it led me to the question, well, what can we do together? And you're right, there are studies, there are extraordinary pioneers. I think Lynn McTaggart is such an incredible voice in this space who really was the pioneer in shaping some of this with some of her books and the way she presented the scientific research behind it so we could really be validated in our collective energy. And so I personally wanted to have the experiences and continue to experiment on my own. And so I joined hundreds of meditation, intention, prayer groups to understand what could we do together. And I started to continually to experience the miraculous, things that would blow people's minds. There's a beautiful story I love to share where we were remote and we were in an intention group and we'd come together. They were all in South Africa
mm,
and I was here and it was late at night for me and we'd come together once a week. And one of the women said, can we intend for my son's foot? He was born with a crooked foot. And he was a bartender. And so his foot was always in pain every night standing on it. And she had witnessed all the weeks before of all these things that we had come together and experiences that had translated from our intentions. So she finally had the validation and said, let's turn our intention towards her son. And so we intended for his foot. And that night, when she talked to her son, he said it was the first time ever he didn't have any pain in one of his shifts. Now, his foot didn't reshape. We didn't set an intention to straighten his foot. We set an intention for the pain, and he had no pain for the first time. And that's just one story of many miraculous stories. And I always share that even in the altruistic app, when we're intending for someone else, you can't we can't really fully measure. There's a lot of scientific studies trying to measure energy and trying to measure the amplification of when we come together for a group. But
mm.
what we can measure is how somebody feels after they get intended for. So how uplifted someone can feel when we come together and intend for their healing. And even that uplifting of their state of being can act as a placebo or can produce chemicals in the brain that then start to enhance the healing itself.
Yeah.
And so after I joined all these meditation and intention groups, the world was really going into chaos, it felt like in the last many years, several years.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, if I've had witnessed so many miraculous things with being in these groups, what could we really do together? And that's where it became that third dimension of that let's turn our collective power out for the better, for the good of humanity. And one of the ways that was stimulated is we spend so much time as a society on our social media platforms. And so if I'm scrolling through X, I'm seeing all the problems in the world. And I understand that, where we place our attention is where we place our energy. And so, what are we doing collectively with our energy when we are all scrolling through X and seeing the chaos? So, as I was scrolling through my social media, I thought, wow, I don't want to create this. So, where can I now place my attention to what I do want to experience as a reality? But there was nowhere, for instance, to step from X, where it might be focusing on war, to then step somewhere else and say, hey, I want to co create peace. And not only do I want to do that, I want to build a community that's aligned with this, and they'll co-create it with me so that we cannot always collapsing what we don't want to experience by putting our attention to it. And
Yeah,
that really was the foundation behind building altruistic.
yeah. It's so powerful. I mean, I just feel like all the, I keep having conversations. Can you hear my dog whining?
Yeah, it sounds sweet though.
Well, it just started pouring rain, and she's like, "Oh," I think she's afraid of the thunder. Anyway, um, yeah, so I really do feel like we're just beginning to scratch the surface on what is really possible in terms of utilizing the power of our mind, the power of our heart, our intention to really shift reality. And this is one thing I feel like I really want listeners to walk away from, is that miracles are possible. I mean, I've seen them with my own eyes, people going from being in pain to not being in pain overnight, to not being able to see to being able to see. And this is how, I guess you would say, that our reality is not as tightly woven or firmly as established as we think it is, right? Like that there's energy that is, oh, you froze for a little bit. I'll wait. There you are. You froze for a
Oh,
second.
I was going to
Sorry.
say, did
I'm
my
sure it
internet?
was my internet probably. I have Starlink. Um, well,
Sorry.
just that what you're pointing to, and I think this is what's so powerful for people to understand, is that reality as we see it, this computer, this desk, this chair, it's all just energy vibrating and appearing, it's appearing real. And when we realize that we're just energy, and I really believe, the power of the brain and the heart coming together and us coming together, creating a new coherence in the field, it does shift reality, our experience of reality. And so I am so excited by this app that you're creating, because it is a way for people to disconnect from the doom and gloom, which we're constantly bombarded with. There's so much trash on social media, and to bring our focus to what, because we are creators co-creating with the divine. And so anyway, you wanted to share something that people could walk away with in terms of, how they can begin to better their life experience. So I want
And
to,
I think so much of this conversation even assists anyone listening in a sense that you are absolutely right. We are creators. We are creating with the divine, which means that, there's so much suffering and there's so many people that are feeling limited. But if our matter isn't solid matter and it's energy, we are the exact same thing. So we are energy and light and information. And so it really just is, what information are we putting into our bodies? What information then are we sending out? And it's a clarification of what information do I want to both power my body with and then power my life and my circumstances with. And so much of that, as so many people talk about, is our beliefs, it's our thoughts, it's what we're feeling in our heart. And so it's the matter of really becoming self-aware, conscious of all of that, conscious of what you're believing, conscious of what you're thinking, conscious of what you're feeling, and then shifting it and shifting it moment to moment. In altruistic, you can do that because we set intentions, and what we do is we have everything as if it's already a reality, so that you can rewire your brain ahead of the experience and you can train your subconscious to believe in it ahead of the experience. Because if you're living in lack, and I tell you straight, believe that you're in abundance, you just aren't going to be able to make that jump. you have to have the tools to then be able to train your mind to be in a different experience, to train your mind to say live in a different reality or timeline jump to a different experience. And so altruistic starts with an image, and it's an image of it's already a reality. So it anchors that in for you. And then a wording that expresses what it would be like as if it's already a reality. So now if, for instance, like I'll sit down in my meditation mat and I might meditate for an hour and I'm creating a different reality in that meditation. But then throughout the day, I'm reconnecting to my past patterns and my past beliefs. And unless I have tools to interrupt them, which can be any tool that you can create, it's first starting with that self-awareness, but altruistic does help with this tool because anytime that then if you're building abundance and wanting to really tune into that frequency and change your belief system around abundant state, and anytime you're feeling lack, now you can interrupt it. You can go back, you can reconnect to that vibration, retune into that frequency, and then continue to rewire your brain and then train your subconscious all throughout the day. And so, like I said, whether that's through altruistic or whether it's through another tool, just becoming aware, reframing what you're thinking, a really beautiful story. It's a very simplistic story, but in this concept of training your subconscious, many years ago, I was a single mom, and well, actually, at the time I did this, I was newly married, and we were both restarting, my husband and I, financially. And I was very busy in a career. And so I didn't have time to, or the finances at the time to really travel, but I had wanted to travel a lot more. So I photoshopped myself into, and my husband and my children into all of these different places. And I hung them on the wall with all of these other memories. So my brain and my subconscious didn't know the difference between what was a memory from the past and what was a memory from the future. And I just placed them in a place I could see them every day. And that was it, training my subconscious.
Wow.
Every single place, my family and I went on a yacht trip through Greece. My son and I went snowmobiling in Iceland. My husband and I were in Paris. My daughter and I in London. Every place that I photoshopped,
Wow.
fully we experienced. And one of the beautiful parts was my husband and I had photoshopped my husband and I in this winery in Italy. It was just built and it had this beautiful spiral staircase. It was just stunning. So I put us right in front of that spiral staircase. We were in Tuscany. We went to the winery and we were standing, and a woman walks up to us and says, "Can I take your picture?" So when I got home and I looked at my photos, it was the exact same spot that I had
Wow.
photoshopped us in. And so this is an image being anchored into my subconscious. So my subconscious starts to believe it's already a reality. And then reality starts to respond in a really beautiful way that we really can't understand, we can't predict. And it's just amazing what happens and what shows up. And I have hundreds of those types of stories, but I love that story because it's really anything that anybody can do. And it goes to the principle that I'm talking about of just training your subconscious, rewiring your brain, and then starting to subtly build new belief systems. So now, as my subconscious is seeing those images, that belief system that I don't have the time or money to travel starts to dissolve because I'm continually seeing myself in these travel
Hmm.
photoshopped photos. And so that's again back to the personal level. But imagine what we could do if we were all, again, co-creating
Yeah.
for this better world.
Yeah.
So, and how much do our belief systems about the world, our collective belief systems about the world, how much is that affecting what we actually are experiencing?
Yeah. I mean, it's that that story. I mean, it really does matter where we're putting our attention. Like I'm just thinking about like, okay, well, if you're on X and you're just looking at images of war and millions of people are looking at images of war, well, what do you think is going to be created, right? So it really, it's so powerful. Like if we can just, I love that. I'm going to do that right away. I'm gonna create all kinds of images of things I want to experience. I mean, that's so, I'm just blown away. So it was that simple. It wasn't like you had to spend hours, visualizing this. And because I feel that um, sometimes we can overthink it. And
Yes,
right?
yes. I think for me, and this is something that I have been experiencing and researching to fully understand. And can't say I have all the answers, but one of the things is, why does something show up for us and we're doing the same work and others don't? And obviously, there is pieces of that to say that a lot of times, in my experience, my obstacles ended up to be my biggest blessings. I just didn't see them in the moment. So
Mhm.
when those obstacles showed up, I might have thought, why is this other thing not showing up? When it was just a path unfolding I couldn't see clearly at the time.
Yeah.
But I do feel our beliefs have a lot to do with how quickly something will show up. And so it's that resistance. For me, it was pretty quick that all of those trips happened and a mind-blowing experience because our situation, if you would have looked at it, would have thought, there's no way we're going on a yacht trip to Greece. And it was pretty quickly that that came about for us. And I've had things that have come about instantaneously. So, one story, I had left my corporate career and was just getting my other side of my business going. And at the time, I needed a client because, again, we were just newly married. We needed more income coming in. And so I needed a client to sustain me until my program was fully up and running and leaving this corporate. So I went and I meditated, and when we meditate, we step away from our circumstances, we step out of our limitations, we step out of our belief systems. And so, in that state of pure consciousness, we're really tuned into all the potentials that exist. So, from that place, I was able to create a new client. I knew, the revenue that I wanted to generate. I knew certain parameters, but I didn't have any idea of the who, the what, the when, the where, any of that, which we don't need to know. And I was meditating out on my deck. And after my meditation, I walked in. I was going to go get ready. I checked my computer super fast. And there was an email from a client that wanted me to start on this project immediately for exactly the amount of money that I had just meditated on and exactly the parameters. Now, I would have never, if you would have asked me, I would have said, I know of no one that's going to hire me right now. I wouldn't have been able to even think of it.
Yeah.
But that's the beautiful thing. When we try and think of it, then we're forcing, we're efforting, and we're trying. In this case, I just didn't have any resistance. And so my belief system, because I had had so many extraordinary experiences in the past, I didn't have any doubt that it would show up for me. I didn't know it was going to show up for me that quickly, but literally on my computer was, I'm starting this new business. I was just trying to figure out who would help me start it, and you were the first person that came to mind. And I sat down and I thought, well, of course I was. I just created this. I didn't create you specifically, but I
Yeah.
just created this at the same exact moment that you were emailing me. So it really is amazing how quickly our experiences can shift, how quickly our lives can shift. But I believe that belief is one of those aspects which determines how quickly, and that's why it's so important to really become observers of our belief systems and then work to restructure them and rechange them, either through, like I said, being able to train your subconscious in a subtle way, using altruistic, or other tools that you might have to really change your belief system.
Oh gosh, that sounds so amazing. Um, awesome. When is this app going to be up?
The app is already live. We're actually live. It's a free app. It's available in the Apple Store and the Google Play Store, and we are now launched in 27 countries.
Oh my gosh. No way. That's so exciting. That is so
So
exciting.
we are developing all the time. We are always open to feedback. We know that there's needs to be a lot more content out to fully understand. It's actually a very large platform with the features and functionality of what it can do. We just haven't produced enough content to really explain all the features and functionalities. So those are the things that are still being released and still in the works.
Mhm.
But it is out. We have a growing community all the time, and some people come on and they're working and enhancing their lives, and it's a personal experience, and we don't see it on the public timeline.
Mm.
Other people can come on, and it's a group, it's a private group, and so it could just be you and I, and we don't see that on the public timeline. And then there are public timeline intentions that can be, like I said, a lot of them are for someone's healing or for the world, whether it's peace or planetary healing.
Amazing. And so people can just go to the App Store and look up Altruistic and they'll find it and they can download it.
Correct. And then Once you download it and you see the timeline, you click below a picture. We developed it to look a lot like in other social platforms. We wanted um, the user experience to be streamlined so they wouldn't have to learn a lot of new tech. We have found that because it does look similar to, say, an Instagram or a scrolling type of app, people do think it's more social media. And so they don't take the first step to move beyond that first screen. And
Mm,
so, to anyone listening, just tap below an image and there's a begin button. And that begin button takes you through, like I said, it can either be 72 seconds, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes of first a resonance sequence and then setting that intention or creating your own. So
amazing.
instead of photoshopping on your wall, you can also put it right into altruistic. And one of the beautiful aspects of that also is really turning our phones into good, places that we're doing something good for the world and really shifting what our tech is doing for us. I call it conscious tech, really
Yeah,
bringing tech for good into the world.
I love that so much. That's powerful because yeah, because so many, we're so aware of the negative effects of technology and the fact that, technology in itself is neutral, just like money or anything else. But when we can, it's how our intention of it, that we can definitely use it for good.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
Super exciting, super exciting. Um, is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience?
I just really thank everyone for listening in, for your time to again let me share my message.
Yeah.
I'm on a mission to bring a global community together and let's co-create a better world. I really believe that we have the power together when we amplify our group energy and our intention that we can co-create the future that we choose.
And it can happen fast.
And it can happen
I'm gonna
fast.
reiterate, it can happen fast. You
Yep.
don't have to wait decades. Thank you so much, Tiffany,
Thank
for
you.
your vision and your heart for humanity and all the good that you're putting out into the world. This is exactly why I've created this channel, is for all of us to amplify our light and to come together and just share the good news. And so thank you so much. And
I love that.
yeah, and if you're watching, please like and subscribe this channel, help it grow, share this. Please download the app. I know I'm going to. And sending so much love to everyone. Thanks for being here. And thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone.